All right, on this episode of Bare Knuckle Radio, very excited to be talking to an individual who competes at BKFC 57, which goes down on February the 2nd. We have Ryan Reber knuckling up and towing the line against Derek Perez, and great having Derek on the show. How's everything going, man? You having a good day so far?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, good to hear, man. I guess I'm just curious as to, when this bout offer came your way, because obviously a guy who has been like on a winning streak in BKFC lately, like when did the bout offer come your way, and what were your initial thoughts for this Ryan Reber fight offer?
Yeah, it came my way about a couple of weeks after my last fight. About 2 or 3 weeks after my last.
Yeah, and what were your thoughts on the specific opponent? Because like I said, it seems like he's been on a good winning streak in BKFC so far and everything. Like, what are your thoughts on the opponent and everything? It would seem like a good way to get it into the rankings and everything for you.
It's a tough opponent, and that's what I want. I don't want easy opponents. I don't want an easy fight. I want a hard fight. So that's what I'm looking for is fights to build me.
Yeah, it just reminds me of that BKFC article titled "Derek Perez Rising to the Occasion" and talking about like how you debuted at Knucklemania 3 and everything like that. It seems like you're also rising to the occasion here, so yeah, I love to see it.
Yeah, sure. You gotta rise to the occasion when you get the chance, because sometimes you only get one chance,
And I mentioned the fact that Reber is in the rankings, like he's the number 3 ranked bantamweight at this juncture. Like, is that something that holds particular weight for you? Like, as far as like if you beat this guy getting into the, top 5 of the weight category, is that something you find yourself thinking of much, or more just focused on the specific opponent and all?
I'm just focused on getting the W. I'm not really focused on where I'm ranked. It doesn't really matter to me where I'm ranked. Because usually with your followers in this game is where you're going to be. If you got a bunch of followers, you're going to get the fights you want, I guess, is what you can kind of say.
I guess in that sense, like, how much do you feel this fight could, help you in that sense? Because it is in that sort of, like, feature prelim kind of spot. Like, usually they pick, like, an exciting fight that could promise to deliver a lot before it segues into the main card. Like, how much do you think a strong win here could serve you getting that sort of, I guess, social media base you were talking about to get some of these bigger fights and all?
Yeah, like I said, I'm ready to rise to the occasion. I'm ready for the big fight. So he's just another man on my list to where I need to go. That bout is what I want, so that's where I'm going. So.
Yeah, that's interesting. Like, when you say your list, like, are there particular opponents you would like to face, or are you just speaking to the broader idea of wanting to fight the best and achieve your goals?
I just want to fight the best in general,
No, that's fair. I guess I just asked it also kind of in the context of, like, your only BKFC loss being to the current bantamweight champion Keith Richardson. I would think you'd want to like create a run to get back to a rematch there, possibly.
Yeah, sure. I'm just right now. I'm just looking to build my record and to get back to that strap. It doesn't matter if it's 135, 145, 155. But like I've been telling everybody, I want to compete in all those weight classes. I just want to build my record and start, fighting in these other weight classes that I keep telling them that I want to fight at,
Yeah, so sorry, whereabouts are you wanting to fight at? Like, what other weight categories?
155 and 145 is the next 2 weight classes I want to shoot for.
Yeah, that would be interesting, man. A lot of great, potential things on the horizon. But I guess just speaking to this Ryan Reber fight, I'm curious how much tape study you may or may not have done. I mean, he's on the heels of that Travis Thompson sudden death round victory at BKFC 47 and was undefeated prior to that. Like, what are your thoughts on, I guess, his resume and like some of the better skills Ryan Reber has from what you've seen?
Well, I respect him as an opponent, I give him credit when credit is due, So I respect him, but at the same time, I'm ready for war. I'm going to take what's mine.
Maybe another fight of the night caliber performance, like how you had against Anthony Sanchez, something like that.
You're kind of breaking up on that one. Where you said?
Oh, sorry, I was just saying maybe similar to the Anthony Sanchez fight, like a fight of the night kind of throwdown. But yeah, no, I mean, you just have that great style, man, for sure, and everything like that. Just a very exciting bare knuckle approach. So is that one of your bigger goals this year, like keeping active? I feel like you've mentioned that a couple times as we've been talking. Is like your ideal goal for this calendar year to just have as many BKFC fights as possible, essentially?
My main goal is to stay active and stay busy, you know what I mean? At least 3 or 4 fights a year,
Yeah, and mostly prioritizing BKFC, because I mean, you had a lot of great fights in mixed martial arts and gloved boxing also, but like mostly a bare knuckle boxing specific year.
You're breaking up real bad again, Jim.
Oh, sorry, I was just saying you had a lot of MMA fights and gloved boxing, but this year's mostly going to be on the bare knuckle boxing, you think?
Yes, sir. Any kind of fighting experience helps you. I do grappling, I do fighting, I do all of it. I grew up wrestling, so any kind of combat sports helps,
Yeah, and I guess in asking that, like, what are your thoughts on some of the other bare knuckle styles popping up? Because Game Bread's doing a lot of like bare knuckle MMA, like they had that Buakaw versus Sanchai bare knuckle Muay Thai fight. Like, what are your thoughts on some of these, I guess, emerging bare knuckle combat sports approaches and all?
Like I said, it's any fight is a fight to me, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter if it's kickboxing, boxing, MMA, grappling. I just love to compete, so.
Yeah, no, you love to see it.
This is a different kind of sport, and I really feel this is my sport, and I've been doing it for about 6 years now, and I hold 1 belt, so I plan on getting more belts, so.
Yeah, and I was going to say, because I had mentioned your experience in other combat sports, like, how does it feel to have found this sport of, bare knuckle boxing and have it seem like such a great fit? Because, like I was saying, you have a lot of combat sports experience. Like, what was it like finding BKFC and it being that perfect fit for you, almost?
Well, it's like a street fight, and I grew up doing street fighting and getting into trouble a lot in school. I just fit that, but it fits my style, I did a lot of boxing. I have like 27 pro boxing fights, like fucking 12 or 13 pro MMA fights, so I just really think this is bare knuckle is my style, I get a clinch, I get to work the clinch, I get to grab them. It's really my shit,
Yeah, I mean, seems to be the case, and this is a big card with it being headlined by Luis Palomino taking on Austin Trout. I'm kind of curious with your experience in both bare knuckle boxing and gloved boxing, like how do you see that Palomino versus Trout fight playing out in the main event coming up here?
It'll be a good fight, I see it playing out freaking real good, real technical, depending on how the fight starts, you know. I say if Trout can move and stay on the outside, he'll beat him. He'll pick him apart, you know. If Palomino can get on the inside and make him fight, make it an actual fight instead of letting him box, Palomino will win, you know. But we're going to see whose dog comes out in him that night. So.
Yeah, and another, Austin Trout undercard that you're on, being that you were on the event when he fought Diego Sanchez in his debut. Did you have any interactions with Austin Trout during that event or the fight week, or not so much because you were so focused on what you were doing?
Me and Austin Trout, we've fought we've been around, he's from Las Cruces, I'm from Albuquerque. He goes to boxing events, we talk, He's real cool. He's real humble. He's been to a couple of my boxing fights. He was at my pro debut boxing fight, and we chatted, we talked. He's real humble. He's real cool. Real down to earth,
Yeah, no, love to hear that, man. A lot of cool bonds that can pop up in combat sports. But just like I was kind of saying before, wanting to be mindful of your time and schedule, Derek, I'm curious if maybe you have a final thought you'd like to add as we're wrapping things up here.
No, I just want to thank God and thank all my sponsors. Thank Budding Bar Dispensary. I want to thank Cowboy Verde. I want to thank Greg Mays' Plumbing. And all my other sponsors, if I'm forgetting any. That's about it. And thank you for the interview.
Yeah, no problem, man. Appreciate you coming on. It's always fun talking to you. Some great insights provided. And yeah, a stacked card with BKFC 57, and this Ryan Reber fight definitely stands out to me on February 2nd. But again, thanks so much for coming on Bare Knuckle Radio, and you have a good rest of your day, Derek. Thank you.
Yes, sir. God bless, brother.
All right, on this episode of Bare Knuckle Radio, very excited to be talking to an individual who competes at BKFC 57 on February the 2nd. We have Derek Perez knuckling up and towing the line against Ryan Reber, and great having Ryan as a guest on Bare Knuckle Radio. How's your day going, man? Seems like you got a good session in.
Yeah, man, we just working, man, just working. All work, man. I really haven't stopped working since Travis's fight.
Yeah, no, it comes across just anyone that's seeing what you're doing for sure, and everything like that. And a lot to talk about with this next fight, but I feel like I'd be remiss if I didn't touch on that aforementioned Travis fight a little more, because not only your first time going the distance in bare knuckle, but, encroaching beyond that even and getting that, sudden death round victory. Like, what did you glean from that whole experience? It would seem like you would learn a lot from that fight against the animal.
Look, man, I could tell you that I truly and honestly believe there's some tough motherfuckers out there, but Travis, he's a whole different kind of tough. You know what I mean? And he knew what was on the line. I knew what was on the line. And the only way to stop Travis is to either knock him out, which probably isn't going to happen, or to lacerate him to the point where the doctor has to stop it, And that fight, I don't want to say I'm going backwards, but I feel like I should have fought Perez and then Travis. But it is what it is, man. And I know why they had me fight Travis, and I know why I'm fighting Derek. So I'm just here for the journey, man. You know what I mean? And I know what the end result I want is, and that's to be a world champion. And I'm not going to stop at nothing until I obtain that goal.
Yeah, I'm curious for you to expound upon that a bit more. Like, why is it, in your estimation, like just based on your wording there, like why is it that you're fighting Derek Perez coming up here?
So my manager asked me basically, because I'm the number 3 guy, Jared Grant is the number 2 guy, and Reggie is the number 1 guy. So, you know, they're like, you can't fight the champion on the Miami card, but they want you to fight on the Miami card because apparently they already had 2 title fights and they couldn't run a 3rd one, and I want to fight. So I said, I want Reggie. Okay, well, that didn't happen. Okay, well, then I want Jared Grant. That didn't happen. So the next one in line was going to be Derek Perez, coming off a really good win, only lost it to the champ, and I felt like, you know, that was a good matchup for me. I was like, okay, yeah, we'll run that. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm taking a risk. You know what I mean? I'm taking a huge fucking risk. And, you know, I just don't want to stay shelved any longer. You know what I mean? I don't want to take more than 6 months off. I've had plenty of time off. I've had plenty of time to recover. And this is what they set up for me. So, you know, this is what I'm going to do, man. And it's not, I don't look at Derek Perez as a stepping stone. He's a very dangerous opponent. And I just, you know, I forget about winning and I forget about losing. I just want to go out there and perform at my best and put a fucking hella show on for these Miami fans. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. If the knockout comes, it comes. If the fucking 5-round war comes, it comes. And I'm prepared for whatever, obviously, because you've seen me go 6 last time. Now, I don't want it to go 6, or even 5. But, you know, if that's what it calls for, then that's what it calls for. I know Derek is a tough SOB, and it's going to be a good one, man.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, all respect to Derek. I mean, I talked to him the other day about this fight also, but some of the names you mentioned there, I'm curious, like, did the matchups not come to fruition because, like, maybe they already have, like, other matches lined up for these guys? Is it, like, they're just looking to be on the sidelines for a bit longer and the timing just didn't work out? Like, I guess based on your understanding of what happened, why didn't any of these fights with guys like Reggie Barnett Jr. or Jared Grant come together?
Yeah, and like I said, man, I mean, you know, you look at Travis is number 4 right now, and Dat wins number 5, and I mean, I don't know why Dat wins number 5, but you know, like I said, if I'm gonna fight anybody that's not a ranked fighter, you know, all the other good bantamweight fighters were taken up, like Albert Blayes, and I think there's another 35 on the card, and he's fighting, and then you got, you know, and then you got Danny Alvarez, too, and me and Alvarez have been in each other's inbox, you know, talking about a potential matchup. But like I said with him, I said, brother, you win this fight, and if we were to fight for the belt or something, that's when we fight. You know what I mean? Or you know, if he got the belt and, you know, we did whatever, you know, a title fight with him, I could see that coming in the future because he's solid, too. But, you know, both of us anyway, you can't overlook anybody, man. And, you know, that's what I don't do. You know, I just, like I said, man, I forget about winning, I forget about losing, man, and I'm out here to just showcase what I know I can do. And if I showcase what I know I can do, I don't see me losing. And you know, that's just it, man. I work very, very, very hard, and you know, I work very hard mentally as well. So it's not just the physical work. I work hard mentally. I meditate every day, and I only speak good, positive things, and I move with pure intentions every single day. And I made that a point, man. My gratitude and integrity is at an all-time high. And you know, I'm gonna be a hard motherfucker to stop, man. And I know that. I know it, and most importantly, I feel it. So, you know, like I said, man, I've been training with Dave Mundell's personal trainer. Plus, I got my guys down here at my home base boxing gym at Battle Zone Boxing in Clearwater, Florida. And you know, between those guys, I'm around, you know, the best trainers, the best fighters, and you know, just like I say all the fucking time, you show me your 5 friends, and I'll show you your future. So I know exactly where I want to be, and I know exactly how I need to get there. And you know, it's hard work and dedication. Really, there's no secret.
Yeah, and you seem very focused and intentional. I mean, so many great people in your life, as you mentioned, just like, I mean, spaces and people, like you mentioned Mundell and Battle Zone, but it seems like Julian Lane has also been helpful with your BKFC growth and getting you into... Yeah.
Julian and I just got off of a phone call together, I don't know, 2 hours ago, and he's actually going to fly down because he wants to be a part of my camp and wants to come out with me to Miami. So, you know, he's always been a huge part of my camps. And, the way that he trains is just, when he trains is super motivating. And we it's like he don't let me slack. And when he's preparing for a fight, I don't let him slack. And we're in each other's head and we're in each other's ear and we're constantly pushing each other. I'm honored to call him a good friend of mine, man, to be honest. And, so he's looking to come down here probably next week. So he'll finish up camp with me. And, every time he's in camp with me, it's a fucking problem, man. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, just as you were saying that, I was like, if memory serves, I think you were at his last fight also, and you were getting fired up when he got it done. So cool to see that it's like a back and forth kind of deal there.
Actually, I got a chance to corner with him, and yeah, man, it's always an amazing experience, especially to not have to be in there. And I mean, look, man, this sport has treated me so good in the past. Even last year, I've got the Utah, New Mexico, South Carolina, all over Florida, obviously. I think one other spot that I can't even recall, but I've also got to corner, JR's World Championship fight. He's another guy that I have in the gym that I'm constantly working with. So, all these high-level guys, you know what I mean? I choose to surround myself with all these high-level guys. So, I watch the criteria, I watch the work, and most importantly, I pay attention because shit ain't free, man. You got to pay attention. And whatever it is, whether it's training or how to train or what to eat or, and I'm constantly asking questions and I'm constantly evolving and constantly learning. And, that's the biggest part of it. I don't ever stop and act like I know it all or, act like I'm too good at this or, nah, man. I'm always willing to learn and obtain more knowledge.
Yeah, and a unique spot here, all things considered, too, because, I think that featured prelim spot has, like, a certain subtext with, like, combat sports fans and everything like that, just with, like, that being the fight to, like, really, ignite the audience for, like, the main card and everything like that. So, kind of, interesting placement in that certain sense. And I think I was seeing some Bare Knuckle fans kind of thinking, like, maybe you might be, like, on the main card considering your ranking and all. But I feel like that's that classic, like, card positioning promoters often do, like, have that, like, fight that promises to be a barn burner, super exciting as, like, the featured prelim, I guess.
Now, you kind of sound far away. I'm catching most of what you're saying, but you sound kind of distant.
Oh, my bad. I was just, I guess, getting your thoughts on what it means to be in that, like, featured prelim sort of fight, because I think some fighters look at it as like, oh, the company sees me as like that action fighter to segue. Yeah.
No, and man, at first I made kind of a fuss about it. I made a post on Facebook and was like, oh, okay, like I said something along the lines of, this is the type of shit that make me want to go harder. I was kind of upset, you know what I mean? Because I'm like, how am I going to do a 6-round war? You guys are going to give me a fight of the night, and then you're going to downgrade me to the prelims. Well, I had not only did Dave Feldman comment not on my exact post, but commented on a different one, because everybody was kind of like, a lot of people were kind of like, what the fuck's going on here? And it wasn't just me, because those prelim cards were fucking stacked. So it was like, what the hell's going on here? And I actually had Nate Shook reach out to me via text message and kind of clear the air a little bit. And I said, you know what, Nate, I was a little pissed off at first. I said, but I understand the method to your madness. And let's rock, man. And I said, they basically said, they signed a new deal with the Fubo TV, and they needed banger fights on there. Now, they didn't pay me any less. I actually got paid more, and it's whatever, man. It don't matter to me what spot they put me in, because at the end of the day, they ain't gonna stop me from being at the top spot. You know what I mean? You can put me on the prelims, you can put me on the first, second, third point. I'm coming. You know what I mean? So it really, at the end of the day, it bothered me. It only bothered me because I just wondered why they did that. But now I understand why they did that, so there's no problems. And everybody who asks me too is like, damn, man, why do they do you like that? And I explained it to them. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, okay, well, I mean, that makes sense. It does make sense. So, and I do feel like my position in the company, Dave likes me. I feel like Nate likes me, the matchmaker, and those are most important key people to like you. You know what I mean? So, and like I said, at the end of the day, man, I'm not going to stop till I obtain what I came here to do. I've been doing martial arts for 21 years, and I'm finally see a finish line, a destination, an end result. So, you know, that's what it is, man, is that world title.
Yeah, and within that context, because I don't know if I've really seen you offer up any comments on the newly minted champion, Keith Richardson, like, what were your thoughts on his title-winning performance, and I guess just his overall run in BKFC so far and the skills he brings to the table?
Now we're talking about Reggie?
Oh, no, sorry, Keith Richardson. Like, what are your thoughts on him garnering the belt and just his run so far in BKFC?
I think Keith 100% deserves to be in that top spot. I think he's an absolute animal. I think he's been through the world of shit to get there. Me and Keith, we've had many conversations in the last couple of shows, even for 45 minutes at a time. You know, I've seen him at the BYB show, and I watched his fight in South Carolina, watching dethrone Reggie. And I think dude's a standout guy, man. And it'd be honestly an honor to fight somebody of that caliber. And, you know, I would look to have an absolute fucking war with him. And, you know, that's what it's going to be, because Keith is another tough guy like Travis, and he's not rolling over for nobody. But, you know, I think my boxing's going to be a little bit of a problem for him, because I don't just have just straight boxing. I have fighting boxing as well, you know, because I do have an MMA background. I got a kung fu, karate. I've studied many different forms, and plus my favorite instructor is Mr. Bruce Lee. I've read all his books, all his philosophy, you know, and dude was fucking 20 years ahead of his time in the 70s and is still ahead of a lot of us now. So, I mean, you know, at the end of the day, man, you know, those are the people that I grew up and paid attention to. So, everybody's beatable at the end of the day, man. It's just about your mindset in the game plan going forward. And like I said, man, I look forward to having an absolute scrap with that cat if it happens. You know, if he stays there, you know, no injuries, you know, doesn't decide to jump up, jump down a weight. You know, and I also, even after this fight, depending on how this fight goes, you know, if there's any injuries or however my hands go, I don't even mind to see him defending that belt one time, because I personally don't think there's anybody in our division that is going to be able to beat him. I really don't. I don't see anybody in the division beating him. I know Travis said he wanted to crack at him, and I even think him and Travis would be a good fight stylistically. You know what I mean? Because Travis likes to stand and bang, and Keith will stand there and bang with you. He's a little more in and out, but you know he looks like he's willing to do that. And you know, Keith's got hella power. You can just tell. You know what I mean? To knock out Perez in one punch and to fucking do what he did to Reggie. Now, granted, I think Reggie was already on his way out, and I mean, I could sense that in Reggie, and that's why I really wanted that fight. You know, I knew if I kept it on Reggie, the same thing would have happened. Reggie quit. He didn't fucking get beat. He quit. And, you know, that's just because of the demons he's facing right now. And, you know, I love Reggie, man. Reggie's a stand-up guy, too, man. I followed Reggie his whole fucking career. It just so happened that we were in the same weight class. And, you know, we kind of jaw-jacked a little bit back and forth on social media. But, you know, like I said, I move with pure intentions, man. If I'm going to come at you with any sort of hostility, it's because you provoked that. And, you know, like Shady Grady, for example. But I could see right through his whole facade. I knew it was a fucking front. And I also knew that he was going to burn out his energy in that fight, and I was going to knock him out. So I would have had a real good finishing rate. But, you know, he knew that too, and that's why he cheated. And I say it right to his face, man. I say it to him every time we get on social media together. I don't got no problems with him. I just tell it like it is, man. You could hate me all day long, and I'm still going to have love for you, man. Because, like I said, I don't move like that. I don't need to move like that.
Yeah, I'm just curious because you talked about almost like seeing that in Reggie, like he was on his way out. And I mean, leading into that Keith Richardson fight, I mean, he was like pound for pound ranked, the champion. I guess I'm curious what inference you made or what you may have saw as someone who's obviously an experienced combatant in that space. Yeah.
A couple of performances, you know, the Jared, his last probably good performance was he did pretty well against that Spanish kid, Gene Herrera. He did pretty well with Gene, which I thought Gene would have did better than what he did. The Jared Grant fight was kind of flukish too, because you know Jared got hurt, he got poked in the eye, and then I really noticed it with the Alvarez fight, because I think Alvarez was gonna do him in until he broke his hand. And I mean, for Reggie, like, if I'm fighting Alvarez and I notice your hand is mangled and broke like that, I'm not saying shit. I just know you can't hit me hard, so I'm going in on you. Now, Reggie was the opposite. He addressed it and made it a point so he couldn't continue. And then also when he got dumped in on his head, you know what I mean? He put on that whole fucking show. Like, I almost thought he was going to quit because of that. And I think he was kind of playing it like trying to see what they would do. Like, oh, okay, he slams you on your head. Are you okay? Do you need to continue? And he could have been like, no, I'm hurt. You know, and he ended up continuing. But being a fighter, you can see it. You can see it in the eyes. The eyes never lie, man. And he just wasn't the same guy, man. Now, could Reggie bounce back? I hope Reggie bounces back for his sake. You know, but maybe he's done everything he needed to do in the sport of fighting, and that's it for him, man. I don't know. But I know as a fighter, I wouldn't want to go out like that. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want to end it like that. But you know, I also, you know, I know personal shit happens, man. But that's why you got to be mentally tough, because personal shit happens to everybody. I mean, I could tell you 5 different stories about things that happened to me even before the Travis fight, and you know, I could have let those things make or break me, and I didn't. I chose to fucking have them fuel my fire even more. Like, all right, this is the way shit gonna be. Well, good, because I got something coming up, you know, on the 14th of July, talking about the Travis fight, that I could, you know, go ahead and just, and you know, when I'm in there anyway, man, I'm free, man. I'm free from the bullshit in the world. I'm free from the bullshit at my fucking job, the bullshit in my life, all of that. I forget about all that, and I just push forward, man, and you know, I'm able to lock in and, you know, put on a show. And you know, I absolutely love it, man. I absolutely love this bare knuckle shit, man. It's definitely for me. The boxing shit was rough, man, because it's a lot harder to get the job done with gloves on. With the gloves off, if you're accurate and you're fast and, you know, you got good movement, and you're tough, you know, you can't just be one or the other. It's hard for guys to just be tough. You could be just tough all you want, man, but that tough shit ain't gonna just win you fights. It will please the crowd, but your face is gonna hurt afterwards, you know what I mean, or your body or your hands. So you gotta really have all the attributes, man. And if you don't, you better train them all. Because, you know, you're going to run into guys like, you know, if you would have asked me, you know, a lot of people are like, how are you going to come into this fight? What are you going to do? I'm going to use no way as my way, and I'm going to have no limitations as my limitations. Meaning, I'm not going to go into it using a boxer, a martial arts, a MMA way. I'm going to go into it using the way that he gives me. If he's not moving his head off the line, I'm going to notice that. If he's using good footwork, I'm going to have to switch it up. But, you know, even with Travis, I had a bit of a game plan, but I didn't really expect to be on my bike the whole time and fight him like Mayweather. You know what I mean? I didn't really expect that, but it was what I had to adjust to and what I had to do. And people don't understand being in there with Travis, especially a 10-plus fight Travis. He was very smart. He knew exactly how he was going to try and beat me. It just didn't work. You know, they thought I was going to fold under pressure, and he was just going to be able to knock me out, and it didn't really go the way that he thought it was going to go, and I think I kind of fucked with him mentally, you know what I mean? Once you figured out that I was really tough, too, because, you know, a lot of people slept on me because of that boxing shit, you know what I mean? They were like, oh, well, you know, you look like shit. Now, I said, bro, I fought a fucking Olympian on a 4-day notice, lost, like, almost 15 pounds in, like, 2 days. I felt like shit, and I wasn't training like that. I was in the gym, but I'm not focused, you know what I mean? And with me, if I would have went out there and performed at a high, I would have fucked my own mental state up. Like, okay, well, then I don't even really need to train. I don't need to meditate. I don't need to do all the things that I do leading up to this fight because it worked. You know what I mean? And I'm just the type of fighter that I can't lie to myself, man. So as soon as I started weighing in and I found the opponent, that's when shit started to get real. I was like, damn, man. And then he wasn't as small as a guy as I thought he was going to be at 133 pounds. He was every bit as big as me. He had probably 200-plus fights. And I let the shit get right into my head, man. And then I also was like, you know what, man? Y'all didn't pay me shit. Yeah, I flew out here really just to be on the fucking card, and I was like, fuck it, man. And it hurt me, bro. It hurt me in my sport of bare knuckle because they said it did. And my fucking managers at the time lied to me and said, oh, it's not going to affect you, bro. Just take it. And they made me take that fight so they could be in good with game, Brett, not me. You know what I mean? So they completely fucked me in that sense, man. The only cool thing about it was being on that dope-ass card. That was the only good thing about it. And other than that, man, they screwed me, man, and they probably got where they only paid me $1,000, and Jared Grant did the MMA one and got $15,000. So I know they took money from me, and they can say whatever the fuck they want that they did it, but you know, I just know they did, man. I know they did. My trainers told me they did, and so did other people. Are like, that's not how the business works, man. So I mean, at the end of the day, right now I got very smart and good people around me. My manager Vic down in Fort Lauderdale with All In has been completely taking care of me, completely taking care of all my fight needs, between my outfits to sponsors to just making sure that I'm comfortable with this to, you know, lead up to this fight, man. Everything's been taken care of, man, and it's really like a breath of fresh air, you know what I mean, to deal with people that look out for you and, you know, want to see you fucking win and do good, man, and are not in it for themselves or just the money, you know. So I'm linked up with real good people, man, and you know, everything's clicking, man. Everything's in line for me to go out there and, you know, perform at a very high level. So, you know, I make sure all my T's are crossed and all my I's are dotted, man, before I do something like this. I don't just jump into it like, well, you know, hopefully I win or hopefully I do good or fuck all that, man. I know I'm going to do good. I know I'm going to go in there and put on the show. And that's the way I think. I don't, even when people come into my barbershop or come around me and they're like, oh, man, you better win or you better do good. I'm like, you better shut your goddamn mouth. Because we don't talk like that around here. I'm going to win. I'm going to do good. You know what I mean? And like I said, it really doesn't matter to me about winning or losing. The only thing that matters to me is about going out there and showing my true skills. And if I do that, I don't think I can be beaten. It's all about me, man. It's all about what's, you know, how I'm gonna fucking my mental, and I make sure I work on that every single day. I plant myself in my chair and I do my meditation app on Headspace, so it's guided and it's calculated, and I know when I got into it. And even if I want to skip it, I don't skip it, just like training. You know what I mean? Some days you got to skip to give your body a rest, but for the most time, man, I'm going hard. And like I said, I really haven't slowed down since the Travis fight. I mean, I was in camp with Julian for his fight, his MMA fight. So, or not even his MMA fight, for his one in Orlando. So I pretty much had him come stay with me for the whole month and let him do camp at my house and did camp with him. So I'm focused, man, and I've been locked in. My weight's perfect. I'm probably right now 8 or 9 pounds out, and I stay between 45 and don't go over 50. And I'm disciplined. I don't put a lot of garbage in my body, and a lot of these fighters, even with Travis, man, he had to focus on cutting weight. He didn't get to come down and focus on a lot of sparring and a lot of fucking working out. It was mostly, okay, I got to focus on losing weight. And that sucks, man. You know what I mean? If you can't be a disciplined fighter, like, I honestly think that they should change shit. And they shouldn't let people fight 30 pounds over their weight. Even 20 pounds. It should be 10 pounds. And if it's any more, you shouldn't be allowed to fight in that weight class. Because, I mean, how does it make sense for a dude to walk around at 160 fucking pounds and then kill himself to get down to 35 and then blow back up to fucking 55 the next day. That ain't a bantamweight fight. It's a lightweight fight now. You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
Now you're a lightweight. Now you're 155. Now you're like, that's what every bit of Travis was, and that's why I had to change my game plan too with Travis as far as I needed to put on muscle. So I put on muscle for that fight. I put on like at least 4 or 5 pounds of muscle because my last couple of fights I weighed in at like 137 after weigh-ins the next day, and then this one I was like 147. 146, 147, so I put back on 10. And you need that if you're gonna be in there tussling around with these guys, because even when I fought Shady Grady, that motherfucker was super strong. I was like, God damn, like when he had me up against the ropes, I wasn't going nowhere. It's just his problem was he couldn't fucking fight, so I was like, all right, I could feel him, all his energy just being drained off of him, and he knew it too. And once he knew he couldn't hurt me, he was like, fuck. And that's when he went to try to cheat, because he was like, I got to at least cut this kid, because I said I was gonna, because that's just how his dumb ass thinks. He's like, he ain't thinking about winning. He's thinking about fucking cutting me to the point, you know, where I'm fucking, he can point at it and be like, see, I cut you, like he did with Travis. You know, that was his biggest shine with Travis. And you've seen what Travis did to him. Travis beat the fucking brakes off of him. He beat him down. And, you know, that's what was coming for me, man, because I just knew that he wasn't going to be able to keep that energy for fucking 5 rounds. And, you know, he blew it. And it kind of pissed me off because it messed up my numbers, man. But it is what it is. I feel like with this fight, it's gonna be either a stoppage or I'm going for the knockout, and that's what I'm going for. And I ain't gonna, like I said, I ain't gonna press it. I'm not gonna press it. I'm gonna let it open up, and I'm gonna find my openings. And if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I mean, shit, man. You ask any fighter, what are they going in there to do? They're going in there to fuck shit up. So you know what I mean? I'm sure he's got the same game plan as me. But, you know, like I said, for Derek, he better be on his fucking P's and Q's, because I know I am.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, a lot of great points touched on there. I was going to kind of put the ball in your court and see if maybe there was a final parting thought you wanted to add in there, and just, you know, maybe something we haven't touched on yet. I mean, sometimes fighters don't have a parting thought, but just figured I'd put the ball in your court if there was something you kind of wanted to mention as we're wrapping up here, Ryan.
Just tune in. Everybody that's listening, everybody's watching, tune in. Tune in to Miami card February 2nd, man. And I look to continue my streak.
Yeah, it's an exciting fight. I mean, when I saw this... No, sorry, go ahead.
And I ain't ready to die. I'm only ready to kill.
Yeah, no, it's what it's all about, man. And yeah, great fight with Derek Perez coming up here at BKFC 57. I feel like that February 2nd card is stacked overall, but even within that, this fight very much standing out to me. So again, thanks for coming on Bare Knuckle Radio. Always good getting to talk to you, man. I'm looking forward to checking out this fight, but until then, you have a good rest of your day, Ryan. Thank you.
Hey, I appreciate your time, my man, as always.